the topic of discussion is our abdomen artery supply, abdominal arterial supply. In this topic, in this abdominal arterial supply, we'll be talking about the different branches of abdominal aorta. That means we'll be talking about celiac, we'll be talking about superior mesenteric artery, we'll be talking about inferior mesenteric artery. So this will be the discussions that will take place in this lecture. So now, before getting into our topic, I would like to take you toward one question, because from this question we will move toward the theory portion. So the question says superior pancreatic duodenal artery, superior pancreatico duodenal artery is a branch of, so it is a branch of what? It is a branch of gastroduodenal artery. So from this, what I would like to take you toward is, okay, gastroduodenal artery is a branch of what? Common hepatic artery. Now what is this common hepatic artery? Common hepatic artery is a branch of what? Celiac trunk. Now what is this trunk? Celiac trunk, it is a branch of what? Abdominal aorta. So we'll begin with abdominal aorta, we'll go towards celiac trunk, and we'll know about what? We'll know about common hepatic artery, and then we'll go toward, and then what? And then we'll go toward gastroduodenal artery, and then we'll go toward superior pancreatico duodenal artery. So that will be the flow. Similarly, we'll just discuss about each and everything in this way, right? Okay, now before getting into the main topic, I'd like to show you something. Okay, we know that abdominal aorta, it is present in posterior body wall, right? And that abdominal aorta, it is sending branches, it is sending anterior branches, and the anterior branches are what? Our celiac trunk or celiac artery. Similarly, we have superior mesenteric artery and inferior mesenteric artery. So this is this region, we have what? Celiac trunk. It's not clear, but you can see it is celiac trunk, right? The anterior branch of our what? Abdominal aorta. And just below to that, what we have is, we have this region. What is this? This is our superior mesenteric artery, right? Superior mesenteric artery, right? And the last one is our inferior mesenteric artery, right? Okay, our celiac trunk, it is supplying what? It is supplying our foregut region. Our superior mesenteric artery is supplying midgut region, whereas our inferior mesenteric artery is supplying hindgut region. So that is the overview. Now moving in detail, okay, right? This is the diagram that I was showing. What is this? This is our abdominal aorta, right? Abdominal aorta. And here what we are looking right now is, we are looking towards celiac trunk, right? And this celiac trunk, what is this celiac trunk? It is the anterior branch of abdominal aorta, right? What is this celiac trunk doing? It is supplying foregut region, Okay, now we need to know about the different branches of celiac trunk, right? We need to learn about the different branches of celiac trunk. So talking about the different branches of celiac trunk, the first branch that we need to know is our left gastric artery. What I'm saying is, we need to know about left gastric artery, right? Left gastric artery, you can see right here, this is our celiac trunk, and here you can see the left gastric artery. Now the important thing about this left gastric artery is, it is the smallest branch of celiac trunk, right? It is the smallest branch of celiac trunk, smallest branch. And another thing is, it is, as you can see clearly, where it is going toward, okay, here is our what? Here is our stomach, right? It is not shown right here, we are just cutting it from this section, but here is our stomach region. So what is going on is, it is connecting, it is supplying what? It is supplying the region that is connecting our liver and stomach, right? Liver and stomach. And what is this structure? This is what? This is lesser omentum, and this lesser omentum, it is connecting lesser curvature of stomach to liver, right? Okay, so we can say celiac, the branch of celiac trunk, that is left gastric artery, is what? Is supplying lesser curvature. So it is supplying what? Lesser curvature. So now moving forward, what I said, two things, important thing about left gastric artery is, it is the smallest branch and it is supplying the lesser curvature of stomach. Now moving forward, what is the another branch? The another branch that we have is, we have splenic artery, right? Splenic artery. Okay, and another is common hepatic artery. The three branches of celiac trunk: left gastric artery, right? Left gastric artery, splenic artery, and common hepatic artery, right? As you can see, this is our celiac trunk. Now here you can see our left gastric artery. Here in torsus way we can see our splenic artery, and here you can see what? This is our common hepatic artery. So these are the three branches of our what celiac trunk. Now okay, now let us move towards celiac artery. Now talking about celiac artery, it has, okay, you can see what is this. This is our celiac artery. As you can see, it is moving in zigzag way. It is moving in zigzag manner. So we can say that celiac artery is having what? The celiac artery is having tortuous course, Tortuous, tortuous course, right? Tortuous course. Now what is going on is splenic artery, right? Splenic artery, we are talking about splenic artery right now. Splenic artery is supplying obviously spleen, and if you remember the anatomical position of spleen, then spleen and the greater curvature of stomach are connected by what? Splenogastric ligament, right? Okay, so we can say that this splenic artery is supplying, the greater curvature of stomach, greater curvature, right? Earlier what we mentioned is the lesser curvature was supplied by our what? Left gastric artery, but here we are saying the greater curvature is being supplied by the splenic artery. So that's all. Now okay, now that we are saying that the splenic artery supplies the greater curvature of stomach, right? How it is supplying the greater curvature of stomach is that this splenic artery will further divide. Okay, this was the main splenic artery, right? Now it will further divide into what? These. What are these? These are short gastric arteries, and below we have long gastric artery or long gastromental artery or left epiploic artery. Okay, what I said is, okay, now this splenic artery is further dividing into two things, right? This splenic artery is dividing into two things. Now what are the two things? The two things are, one is short gastric artery, and another is long gastric artery. Okay, right? Long gastric artery is also called, this is also called our what? It is also called left gastroepiploic artery. What I'm saying is left gastroepiploic artery, right? And this is also called left gastromental artery. So we have three names for our this long gastric artery. It can be said left gastroepiploic artery, or we can say left gastromental artery. So as you can see right here it is written what? It is written the left gastromental artery, right? It is same thing. Okay, splenic artery has two further branches. What are the two branches? One is the short gastric artery, right? And another is the left gastromental artery or long gastric artery, or what? Left gastroepiploic artery. Now okay, now what are these left long gastric artery doing, or left gastroepiploic artery doing? Now these arteries are what they are doing is, these artery are, right, supplying the spleen, right? These are supplying spleen, right? These are supplying spleen with a multiple end arteries. Now what are these end arteries? With multiple end arteries, these end arteries are something that will not anastomose, right? They will not anastomose further, they will be ended right there, right? And these splenic artery will also supply what? They will also supply the body and tail of pancreas. As you can see, right? As you can see, what is this? This is our pancreas. Now what is going on here? The splenic artery is moving on the surface of pancreas in a tortuous way. So we can see these are also supplying what? The tail and the body of pancreas. So now moving further, what we have is, another main branch, and that is our what? Common hepatic, right? Common hepatic, this one, common hepatic. Now if you look carefully, this common hepatic will further divide into two parts. One is above one, right, upgoing one, and another is what? Another is our lower going one, right? The upper going one is called hepatic artery proper, right? Why it is called hepatic artery proper? Because it is leaving hepatic proper, right? Hepatic proper. So now one is the hepatic artery proper, and another going down one is gastroduodenal artery. So hepatic artery proper, if you just watch it carefully, you will find that it is further divided into hepatic arteries. And what are the hepatic arteries? The one on the this is our left hepatic artery, and this is our right hepatic artery. Now if you'll see clearly, this right hepatic artery is having the further branch, and the branch is our cystic artery, right? Cystic artery, and this cystic artery is supplying our gallbladder. That's all, right? Okay, I'll just recall it again about common hepatic artery. Common hepatic artery, right? The one of the branch of one of the branch of celiac trunk, right? This is the common hepatic artery. It is having two branches. The first branch is our this upgoing one, and the another branch is our the downgoing one. The upgoing one is our it is our hepatic artery proper, and the downgoing one is our gastroduodenal artery. The upgoing one again further divides into two: the right hepatic artery, the left hepatic artery, and the right hepatic artery. The right hepatic artery further has branch, that is cystic artery, that is going to supply the gallbladder. That's all. Now talking about the gastroduodenal artery, don't get so, it's not, it will be, again we'll just simplify this thing in this diagram, so don't get much worried. Okay, now talking about the gastroduodenal artery. Gastroduodenal artery is right here, right? Gastroduodenal artery is also further divided into superior pancreatoduodenal artery, and the first question that we faced earlier, right? Superior pancreatoduodenal artery is right here, right? And another thing is we have inferior pancreatoduodenal artery, right? Inferior pancreatoduodenal artery. So now let us go in more simplified form now in this diagram. So while looking this diagram, okay, what is this? The main structure, this is our abdominal aorta. It is having it is having cephalic trunk, right? Cephalic trunk. And as we know, the cephalic trunk has how many? Three main branches. The first one that we discussed is this one. What is this structure? This is our left gastric artery, and the left gastric artery is supplying it is supplying lesser curvature of stomach and the lower one third of esophagus. Okay, now talking about the another branch, and that is our splenic artery. This splenic artery is further dividing into the short gastric artery, right? Okay, short gastric artery and long gastric artery, or left gastric epiploic artery, or left gastric omental artery, right? Now what is this short gastric artery doing? It is supplying it is supplying the greater curvature through splenogastric ligament, whereas this long gastric artery, or the left gastroepiploic artery, or the left gastroomental artery is it is anastomosing on the greater curvature, right? On the region of greater curvature with our the right gastric artery. Okay, that means the left gastroepiploic artery is forming anastomosis. Okay, now I would like to take you again through the same thing, and the thing is, okay, right? Okay, what is this? Cephalic trunk, right? What is this branch? First branch, it is left gastric artery. What is this left gastric artery doing? The left gastric artery is supplying the lesser curvature of stomach and lower one third of esophagus. That's all. Now what is this? This is splenic artery. What is this splenic artery doing? Okay, initially the splenic artery is the longest branch. What is this? This is the longest branch. Okay, this is the longest branch of cephalic trunk, right? Okay, the splenic artery is moving in tortuous manner because the superior border of pancreas is somewhat irregular, right? So the spleen is moving on the spleen in the superior border of pancreas, and the superior border of pancreas is not regular, so it is moving in tortuous way. Okay, now here you can see the anterior pancreatic majora. So anterior pancreatic majora is a branch of splenic artery. Okay, now it is in the name we have majora because why? Because it is the great artery of pancreas. That's why, right? Okay, now what is this great artery of pancreas doing? It is moving on the superior border of pancreas, right? It is moving on the superior border of pancreas. Okay, so this is about it. So we already discussed about short gastric arteries, right? It is on the greater curvature, right, greater curvature of stomach, right? Okay, and it is found in what? Splenogastric ligament. Okay, now what about the long gastric artery or left gastroepiploic artery? Now it is carried by the greater omentum, right? It is carried by greater omentum on greater curvature of stomach, right? Here what will happen is it will anastomose with what, right? The okay, it will anastomose with what is this? Left gastroepiploic artery, right? Okay, what is this? Left gastroepiploic artery will anastomose with our this right part. And what is this? Right gastroepiploic artery. This is our right gastroepiploic artery that is anastomosing with left gastroepiploic artery. So moving further, what we have is we have another branch, and that is the common hepatic artery. We said that common hepatic artery will be divided into two parts, and that is, one is the going above hepatic artery proper, because it is leaving, its name is hepatic artery proper because it is leaving what? Hepatic proper. So, and the below one is we have gastroduodenal artery. So talking about hepatic artery proper, what we have is we have again for the two branches, that is the right hepatic artery right here and the left hepatic artery here. The right hepatic artery was having again one branch, and that was supplying gallbladder, right? And the name of the branch was cystic artery. Okay, now talking about the gastroduodenal artery, right? What is this? This is the D1, first part of duodenum, D2, second part, D3, third part. That means we are not talking about the fourth part of duodenum, we are talking about the proximal part of duodenum, right? What is the importance of this second part? The importance of second part is here will be the opening of hepatopancreatic duct, right? Hepatopancreatic duct. So as you can see right here, we are mentioning about the head of pancreas right here, right? Okay, now talking about gastroduodenal artery, it is having two branches. Now what are the two branches of our gastroduodenal artery? The two branches of gastroduodenal artery are, the first is superior pancreatoduodenal artery. What I'm saying? Superior pancreatoduodenal artery. What is this? Is our superior pancreatoduodenal, sorry, this is our superior pancreatoduodenal artery, the question that we faced earlier in this lecture. Now, okay, and another branch is that you can say the branch number, this is the branch number 1, and the branch number 2 is our right gastroepiploic artery. And what was right gastroepiploic artery doing? The right gastroepiploic artery was anastomosing with left gastroepiploic artery. Okay, right? Okay, now if you see carefully, what we have is right here in this diagram, we are showing that there is one artery that is anastomosing with what? The superior pancreatoduodenal artery, right? What is this? This is our superior pancreatoduodenal artery. Now this superior pancreatoduodenal artery is anastomosing with something on the head of pancreas. Now what is this something? And this something is our inferior pancreatoduodenal artery, right? We can say that, right? Okay, in the head of pancreas we can find the anastomosis between superior pancreatoduodenal artery and inferior pancreatoduodenal artery, right? Okay, now moving further, what we have is, okay, we talked about what? We talked about cephalic trunk, right? We talked about what? We talked about the left gastric artery. We talked about our splenic artery, right? We talked about common hepatic artery. Okay, now this was all about this diagram. Now moving further, what we have is we have our what? The branches, to study about the branches of our superior mesenteric artery. Superior mesenteric artery. So in this diagram, you can see, what you can see in this diagram is, what is this? This is superior mesenteric artery, right? And talking about, okay, that means this is what? This is our superior mesenteric artery. If you remember the fact, superior mesenteric artery was supplying what? The mid cut, right? Okay, now here the superior mesenteric artery is having three branches, right? These three branches: the medial colic artery, right colic artery, and Iliocolic artery. Now talking about these branches, right, the middle, the right colic artery and Iliocolic artery. Now what is going on here is this Iliocolic artery, right, this Iliocolic artery, what it is doing is this Iliocolic artery is supplying our, as name suggests, ileum and ascending colon, right, this Iliocolic artery is supplying our ileum and ascending colon. Similarly, moving toward the right colic artery is supplying our ascending colon, it is supplying our ascending colon. What about the middle celiac artery? Middle celiac artery is supplying transverse colon, it is supplying transverse colon. Okay, and especially talking, it will supply the right 2/3 of transverse colon. Why right 2/3 of transverse colon? Because we said that superior mesenteric artery will supply midgut, and the right 2/3 of transverse colon will fall under the midgut, and rest of it will fall, or the distal part of transverse colon will fall under what? Under the hindgut. So, and we know the hindgut is supplied by inferior mesenteric artery. Now moving further, what we have is we have inferior mesenteric artery. Okay, what is this? This is our inferior mesenteric artery, which is supplying the region of hindgut, right? Hindgut, right? Derivative of hindgut. So this is our what is this? This is our inferior mesenteric artery. Now right here we have what? We have different branches. We have what? Left colic artery, sigmoidal arteries, and superior rectal artery. Talking about the different arteries, right here we have left colic artery. Now what is this left colic artery doing? It is supplying descending colon, right? Left colic artery, you can see right here that left colic artery is having different branches that is supplying descending colon. What about sigmoidal artery? Sigmoidal artery is supplying simply sigmoid colon, right? Sigmoidal artery, you can see right here, these are having different branches that are supplying our sigmoid colon. What about superior rectal artery? Superior rectal artery is supplying obviously what? Sorry, sigmoidal artery. What are sigmoidal artery doing? Sigmoidal artery are doing supplying sigmoid colon, and another is we have superior rectal artery. What is superior rectal artery doing? As name suggests, it will supply the upper rectum, right, and upper anal canal. Now if it is supplying upper rectum and upper anal canal, then what about the lower rectum? The lower rectum will be supplied by our internal iliac artery. What I'm saying is internal iliac artery, right? Internal iliac artery. So now one important thing, okay, right now right here what we can see is, okay, right here we can see what is this? This is our cecum, right? Cecum, and we can see appendix right here. This is our cecum. What is this? Ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, and our what? Rectum and anal canal, right? Okay, now here what we can see is, what is this? Our superior mesenteric artery. This is our superior mesenteric artery. Now I have said that superior mesenteric artery have how many branches? Superior mesenteric artery was having 3 branches. Now what are the 3 branches of superior mesenteric artery? The first one that we studied is iliocecal artery, right? Iliocecal artery. The first one is iliocecal artery, that will go toward the what? Ileum and the region of cecum, right? It will supply ileum and the ascending colon, some part of ascending colon. Okay, now talking about the second branch that we said of our superior mesenteric artery is we talked about right colic artery. Now talking about this right colic artery, what we said that it will be supplying what? It will supply the right side of colon, or we can say the ascending colon, right? This was all about right colic artery. Now moving further, we had the third branch, and the third branch, what was the name of third branch? It was middle colic artery. Now what this middle colic artery was doing, it was supplying the right 2/3 of what? Transverse colon. Why it was supplying the right 2/3 of transverse colon? I mean this much region. It will supplying the right 2/3 of transverse colon, because this right 2/3 of transverse colon will only fall under what? The derivative of midgut, and we know the midgut is supplied by superior mesenteric artery, and since the middle colic artery is a branch of superior mesenteric artery. So this was all about superior mesenteric artery. Now talking about the inferior mesenteric artery, what we have is inferior mesenteric artery. Initially the fact that we need to know is it will supply the hindgut derivative. Now it is having different branches, right? The first branch that we are going to talk about is this, right? Now what is this A branch? This branch is our left colic artery. Now this left colic artery will supply our descending colon, right? This will supply our left colon or the descending colon. Similarly, moving further, what we have is this another branch, and that is right here. And what is this another branch? It is sigmoidal artery. Now what is this sigmoidal artery doing? It is supplying our sigmoid colon. Now talking about the sigmoid, now after talking about this sigmoidal artery, we have another branch, and that is this branch. Now what is this branch doing? This branch is supplying the upper rectum and upper anal canal, right? Now what is this branch, sir? This branch is our sigmoid rectal artery. What is this? This is our sigmoid rectal artery. You can see the upper part of rectum, right, and anal canal is being supplied by our sigmoid rectal artery. So now, and what we said earlier is, as you know, that the what is this is our abdominal aorta. It will just divide into two common iliac artery, right? Two common iliac artery. Now one of each common iliac artery will divide into external iliac artery and internal iliac artery. Now we said that the iliac artery will supply the lower portion of our rectum, right? Okay. Now here iliac artery, right? The iliac or we can say the internal iliac artery, it will give two branches, the anterior division and the posterior division, right? The anterior division will give rise to rectal arteries. This anterior division will give rise to two rectal arteries, right? And talking about the rectal arteries, we have two rectal arteries. We have medial rectal arteries, right? Okay, this anterior division of our internal iliac will give rise to two rectal arteries, right? One is medial rectal artery, right? Another is pudendal artery, right? Pudendal artery will give rise to inferior rectal artery. Now what is this? And this inferior rectal artery will supply our the lower rectum part. So what I said right now, is the abdominal aorta will divide into two parts. What are the two parts? The common iliac, right common iliac and left common iliac. It is called common iliac because it has for the two branches the external iliac and the internal iliac. What I said right now is this internal iliac artery is giving two branches, two division, the anterior division and posterior division. The anterior division will give rise to two rectal arteries, and they are the medial rectal arteries and the pudendal arteries. And this pudendal artery will further give rise to inferior rectal artery, and this inferior rectal artery is the one that will supply the lower rectum. Okay, now this was all about our midgut and hindgut, right? Midgut and hindgut. Okay, now moving further, what we have, we just left one diagram right here. Okay, this one. Okay, now here what we can see is, what is this? This is our rectum. And what is this lower portion? This is our anal canal, right? And what we said is the lower part of anal canal will be supplied by it will be supplied by what we said, the branch of our the branch of our pudendal artery or the internal iliac artery. We said that inferior renal artery, right? Inferior rectal artery. It will be supplied by our inferior rectal artery. If you remember, just we discussed sometime earlier, inferior rectal artery. Now this will be supplied by our inferior rectal artery. Now similarly, we have anal canal right here, right? This anal canal is supplied by superior rectal artery. it will, this anal canal, this is what, this is our anal canal, it will supplied by superior rectal artery and the inferior rectal artery. Superior rectal artery will supply the superior upper region, whereas the inferior rectal artery will supply the below region. Now talking about the rectum, right, what is this structure? This is our rectum. Now what is going on in rectum is the superior rectal arteries. You can see what is this superior rectal artery, right? Superior rectal artery. This superior rectal artery, which is the branch of what, inferior, which is the branch of our inferior mesenteric artery, will supply the upper region, right? And remaining the lower region will be supplied by our what, our internal iliac artery, that is having two branches. They are middle rectal artery and inferior rectal artery, and they will supply the lower region. So that's all, right? So we can see that the superior renal artery are supplying what, superior renal artery are supplying the above region of rectum and the above region of our anal canal, whereas the inferior iliac artery are supplying the lower portion of rectum and the lower portion of anal canal. So this was all about what, this was all about this diagram. So now we finish the discussion of abdominal artery supply. Hope you are clear. See